there's never a point where Chainsaw Man ceases to amaze me with the amount of craziness that Fujimoto comes up with. Now, I was actually very pleased that I thought for one thing that Denji could do in order to, utilize his powers more, and that was actually revealed this chapter by Beam of being the case. But as it were, let's get into the chapter. As where we left off, Reze had completely just given Denji the hands, well, the bombs, and rendered him essentially just like an overcooked corn dog, just crispy, burnt, cracked all over, and unable to really do anything. Now, once Aki, who is, able to see moments in the future, knew where she was going to go, surprised her, cut off her arm, well, most of her arm, right at her hand, a little bit past her wrist, and then went on the hopeful offensive, because we know that that's not really going to do a whole lot for Reze. She's able to regrow her limbs because, the hybrids seem to have, they have a regenerative power. They're practically immortal. The only the way to kill them seems to be to do something with their heart. But Aki knows that in this scenario, he needs to have these next couple moves be very perfect, because otherwise he's going to die. He explains it perfectly. Just because he can see into the future doesn't mean that he's going to be able to react to or move to it fast enough. Like, okay, you can know exactly the timing of like a bullet, but if your body isn't able to get out of the way in time, you're not able to really match up, at least to a degree of just moving a slight amount, then you're going to get killed. And that's, where it is with the bomb. And she's much more powerful than any devil that he's ever come across. Well, that he's fought. I mean, you could kind of go like, well, he sort of came across the gun devil. Not really, but he was at that whole advent. But as it were, Aki was keeping in for a moment, and then it looked like he was, a little bit screwed. Once I saw that big missile in Reze's hand, I knew that he was in some danger. You had an explosion that was like throwing cars around, creating like large craters. And Aki was actually saved thanks to Violence, who showed up to help him. I want to see Violence more in the story. I'm expecting his character to kind of be that that guy's like, well, he's sort of an enemy, but he gets turned. And we already know that like he has to wear this mask in order to constantly poison him to dampen his powers. So I'm guessing like he's not very much willing to comply outside of it, and only because right now he's drastically weakened and he can't take this mask off. But now, they're getting ready to possibly duo against Reze, which in a normal circumstance, I don't think that they would stand a chance even with the two of them. But Reze is, she's saying, she's pretty much out of blood and she's not really wearing much for clothes. So the second she, turns her power off, she's just going to be standing there in a pair of panties, and that's it. And they're like trying to discuss whether they're saying like, that you got a point, should we give you some sort of handicap? And Aki's not up for that. He's not going to want to help her. He's not going to do anything to aid her. He wants to take her out. And I actually really like this kind of goofy nature of Violence, that he seems to have just kind of like a relaxed, fun aspect to him while, wanting to slaughter. But Reze essentially was using that as a means to distract them, buy some time. I'm guessing the whole fact that she says she's low on blood was actually true, because otherwise I think she could completely beat these two. Just drop some big explosions, you're gonna AoE them out of out of the game. And then at that point, the Typhoon Devil shows up. Typhoon, shows up. He's weird. It's like two giant baby legs coming out of like a flesh tornado, and then like a big baby's face with nothing above the nose. It's just like exposed like brains and organs. It just constantly in like a twist. But I mean, really, that's Fujimoto's style. Very weird creatures. The only ones that we can guess are gonna, for the most part, look relatively normal are gonna be ones like Reze, the gun devil, any of the hybrids, because we know smarter the devil, the more intelligent and human-like they are. I mean, look at Reze. She's straight up like, able to switch between looking like a girl, like normal human girl, and then being like a monster, but not like this, not like a giant flesh creature. I mean, I guess look at like Beam as well. Beam can switch between, his full-on shark devil form, which is awesome, and you know, his just normal self where he's got that weird like shark layer over his face. And the angel devil, you know, finds somebody who's, you know, on the verge of dying, you know, helps them end, and then brings their bleeding corpse over to Denji, feeds him blood so he's, you know, able to regenerate and get back to normal. And Beam is like all happy because he's like, you know, any normal devil would have died from that. You're amazing. I can't believe you're up and at 'em. But we know the hybrids are different. You know, they seem to be somewhat immortal. And there's a moment like where the angel devil is explaining to them that Reze is just slaughtering, she's just causing mass destruction, and the only options here are either going to be for Denji to pretty much give himself up over to her to minimize any further damage, or to kill her. And Denji's at this point like, yeah, I know what to do. And the thing is, like, Denji normally, you know, he's able to keep like a pretty normal like mindset, pretty well trained of thought. I mean, I don't think Denji's stupid. Like with Power is not smart. Power's not intelligent. She's like, you know, in a humanoid form because she's a fiend, similar to Beam. Whereas Denji, you know, is one of the hybrids. He has a human body with devil powers in it. But Power doesn't seem intelligent. Denji just seems to me uneducated. I just think that it's not that he's dumb, he just hasn't had a chance to like learn a lot of things. But when he's in his chainsaw form, we know that he's not mentally stable. I mean, look back at like for instance, the fight with you know, the fight against the Eternity Devil, and Power's like talking about, you know, doing these things to win a Nobel Prize. And then when Denji, you know, hearing it, and then he goes in his Chainsaw Man form, is talking about how, you know, he's gonna win the Nobel Prize for a perpetual motion machine. And it's like, that wasn't your thing, but you know, it's in your head. You're probably not in the best mindset. You're vastly like quickly like going through blood and whatnot. You know, he's not gonna be all in mentally. And once this, you know, he knows though that Reze is way more powerful than him. The Angel Devil's talking to Beam and explaining like, we know that you know things about the Chainsaw Devil, so you need to talk and tell us something right now, or you know, we're all gonna die. The thing is, we know that he can't talk about Makima and like what he knows about Makima, what he knows about the Gun Devil and the Bomb Devil, but the Chainsaw Devil is under some pretty strong lock, I imagine, as well. But he knows he has to say something here, and he's saying how the chainsaw, when he's talking about, you know, Master Chainsaw, I'm guessing it was Pochita before, you know, absorbed into Denji, was saying that he was super fast, but he didn't just move normally, you know, jumping and running. It was, he'd use his chainsaws to move. And I always thought like the idea of one of the guys from Soul Eater, you know, he was a weapon and he was a chainsaw. He could actually make the chains go on his legs and run kind of like tank tracks, and he could move around like that. He didn't even have to move his legs, something like that. But also, I'm happy because I called this idea out previously in a review of being able to like whip his chains around like Spider-Man style and just go building to building, and you know, you'd be able to use it also for, you know, grabbing onto opponents and, you know, like grabbing items and stuff, quick motions. And that's exactly what Beam describes, which I liked. I liked that as well. And then Denji, again, Denji in his normal form would think of this and be like, oh, that's a good idea. Denji in his chainsaw form, again, not too level-headed, not too clear thinking, is not going to hear this and be like, I'm going to do exactly that. No. He's going to have some offbeat idea, you know, given that, and skew it entirely. And when he tells Beam to get into his full shark form, he pretty much mounts him and uses his chains as reins like a horse, and you know, gets ready to ride him into battle. And Denji, you know, he's all revved up at this while Beam is like, no, this is not correct. This is not what we're trying to do. And even the Angel Devil's like, why aren't you like using your chains to hook onto buildings and move? And Denji's like, nope, no, this is what it is. This is what we're doing. And Beam just goes with it. You know, he's a yes man. He loves the chainsaw, and he wants to please him and, you know, be a good sidekick lackey to him. So now he's going along the buildings on top of the Shark Devil and riding into battle against this giant fleshy tornado and Reze, who's now pissed off that Denji's back up. And it's funny because the name of the chapter is literally Sharknado, which I love. I love so much that it was able to work a reference like this, like set up and then actually execute without it being so obvious. It made me so happy. I love that aspect about Chainsaw Man. It's so weirdly unpredictable, and yet at the same time, if you were to check into any other like shonen and you saw something like, yeah, the main character is going to put chainsaw like chains into the mouth of a friend of his that turn into a devil shark and ride them into battle against a giant flesh baby tornado and you know, a Russian bomb woman, you'd be like, what are you talking about? But if you've been reading Chainsaw Man up to that point, you're just like, yeah, that makes sense. I can see that being the case. Yeah, 100%. Let's do this. So I love Chainsaw Man. I'm so happy that this manga exists and it's doing well. They actually just finished its first year and it got like 410,000 download or purchases, physical copies, not even counting digitals. So almost 500,000 in the first year is great. I mean, it's fantastic. And it's doing really well. I know that you get something, another series like what Spy X Family is only at like 2 volumes and it's almost at 1 million. That one's like an explosive one where it's just, I don't know how that happened. People just love it. But Chainsaw Man has been like consistent. It's been doing really well. You know, and I think it's the fact that it's so weirdly different from other things within the magazine, yet at the same time like still fitting like shonen aspects into it, that it's gonna be able to, you know, keep living on. And I mean, right now, like, we're already at a year. We're at 50 chapters, and for the most part, it's been about the gun devil, and we haven't even gotten to him yet, and we don't even know how many other devils are going to be capable of him. But we also know that devils can manifest through, you know, aspects of, you know, people's fear and whatnot. So we could get beings beyond that. We could get characters being built up. Maybe, you know, some weaker devil that slowly rises the ranks and they become like a big bad guy. Either way, comment below. Tell me your thoughts are about the chapter. It's going to be so exciting, the next one. It's going to be brutal and vicious. I don't know what Denji's really going to be able to do against Reze. I mean, like, him and Beam combined like, against the Typhoon. Sure, I can see. I mean, Typhoon's definitely powerful. He can affect the weather, but he doesn't have that overwhelming, like, level of grasp on his power like Reze. And I think that's her biggest aspect, is she has such a wide range of how she's able to use it. She's very smart about using it. That's what Denji's going to need, but Reze seems very, she seems very much like keeping to herself with her intelligence and her mentality while in this form. Similar to, you know, the Katana Devil, he was able to still like keep a grasp on his mental state. Denji seems to just kind of like drift away and be in this, you know, wacky persona, well, like not persona, wacky state of his being. But you know, that's been the case since the start of the series. So we'll see how he does. I mean, Reze is low on blood right now, we know that, but we know, one, there's a lot of people around, she could get some, and two, the hybrids can drink devil blood and keep going. So maybe she'll say, you know, fuck the Typhoon Devil, you know, I'm gonna kill you, get your blood, and then, you know, just leave if she has to. Maybe again, then Makima will show up, or a boosted power. I think Makima and Kishibe would be like the ones to be able to contend really with Reze. So other than that, comment below, tell me your thoughts about the chapter. I mean, it's so exciting. Can you think, like, looking at this series going into, you're gonna get a chapter like this where the main character is running a shark devil into battle against a giant flesh baby tornado and a Russian bomb chick? No, you wouldn't. Only Chainsaw Man. But other than that, yeah, comment below, thumbs up the video, friend the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.